The book is really the story of William Earl, who was a nursing orderly in the Royal Army Medical Corps during the Second World War. He was called up in 1940, and it's a story of his journey right the way through the North African campaign and also the Italian campaign. The first time we met, he had this great passion about his World War II experiences, and he was so willing to speak. It was almost as though I'd lifted the lid off and this Jack-in-the-Box came out, and I was intrigued by his story from the word go, and I realised that there was a book here. But it became obvious very early on that he was deeply in love with his first wife, and that he was always looking back to England and always wanting to get back to Mary. So to tell a story without the love interest would have only been to show half of William, so it had to be included. The bit about Mary where there is secrecy around Mary's story, I probed as far as I could, but then in the end he sort of said quite bluntly, look Liz, I promised never to disclose this story, and I won't, and I respected him for that. It took, I think, 7 years in total from the first time we met to it actually coming out now. I knew nothing about the Italian campaign, so a lot of things shocked me. For example, the way that egos can get involved and send people off in the wrong direction. The huge loss of life in some of the battles. Also, what surprised me was my own attitude towards the men that I was reading about. These are complete strangers to me, but the more I read about them, the more I have feelings for them. And I remember crying when I discovered the grave of Private Musto, who's mentioned in the book. I was searching for him. I know he had died, and I checked the nearest cemetery, and Feedwell Cemetery. There was his name, and it was like, so that shocked me. I think it will appeal to everyone, to be honest, because you have got this love story, and love stories have appealed to everyone. It will appeal to those that are interested in social history, because it's very much sort of the romance, particularly with Bill and Mary at the beginning, and then at the end when he returns home. So I think it'll appeal to those people. Obviously anyone with an interest in World War II and military history and military medicine as well. But I think it's, because of the love story, I think it's got universal appeal. The early years, and that's basically Bill's early life, and then called up, that's when he's actually joined up to join the Royal Army Medical Corps. And I think that's interesting. Well, all of it's interesting, but what sticks out then is that he thought it was an easy ticket when he was called up to join the Royal Army Medical Corps, because he assumed that he wasn't going to be involved anywhere near the action. And then he suddenly started realising as he was training that actually we're going to be in the thick of it. And Anzio itself was one of the worst battles, I think, of the entire Second World War. Certainly one American said that any man that had fought at Anzio had it seared in his brain like a blowtorch. So that was an horrendous period. And then they get out of Anzio after a very short time, simply because the division was decimated. The losses were horrendous at Anzio. Sorry, one of the battalions within the division was, when it advanced through the Gothic line, its flank was always open to the German attack. So that battalion was decimated when it went through the Gothic line. And it's here that Bill's had enough. He's absolutely had enough of war, and his worst memories are there, with the dying tents and with going into the minefield. There's a chapter called the D-Day Dodgers, and that was the nickname that the men that in Italy got, most unjustly, the accusation being that they were dodging D-Day by taking so long in Italy. And we've actually put the words of the D-Day Dodger, and what the publisher has done is he's actually taken photographs, or got photographs of the actual conditions in Italy, which show what it's like and how different it is from the words of the song.